Hello, 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 everyone. This is Dr. Garrett Smith, known as the Nutrition Detective around these here YouTube parts, and we are here with episode 166 of the Love Your Liver live streams, and we have an exciting topic today. The main topic, once we get through the initial stuff, is on the molecular evidence that vitamin A is not necessary at all, and it's in the research. Like when they're talking about receptors, retinoid X receptors and retinoic acid receptors. And you don't have to have retinoic acid to do the job that receptor does. So they just named it terribly. It's almost like they wanted you to believe you had to have it. It's very weird. So what we're going to get into first, a lot of you were here early because you saw our email newsletter this morning about a special announcement happening. And Brandon Trina, our regular super chatter, you're a practitioner yourself, aren't you, Brandon? Asked, well, thank you for the super chat, first of all. And he asked, how do I sign up for the hair mineral analysis training? And what are the dates? Is it based more off X work? Cheers to a groovy start to October. So we are here to talk about a little bit about my upcoming Love Your Liver seminar and how people can learn how to assess and potentially take actions on hair tests, hair mineral analysis, and blood tests like I do them for my people. So the dates of this, first of all, if you would like to be put on the list of people who are going to get, specific email contacts about this, it's not like some list you're subscribing to. This is like you're going to get emails about the seminar as we have all the details hashed out. All the details have not been hashed out yet. So you're going to email Julie. This time I'm telling you, you can email Julie, admin@nutritiondetective.com. Key thing about this, you're getting on a list. Don't ask her for details yet. We will send out the details as we have them. So you are sending her an email to get on the list, not to ask a bunch of questions. She's not going to be answering them. She asked me specifically to say that. So don't ask a bunch of questions. Don't ask how much does it cost and what's going on and what kind of computer do I need. It is an online thing. It's not in person. We will be doing something in person next year. We did not have the time. I did not realize we were talking about doing a Love Your Liver convention seminar and all that stuff this year. And we have a lot of people who are excited to do it. And after I talked to, Sarah, my assistant, the lovely Sarah, she is very experienced with organizing conventions of this nature. And she's done a lot of help with this. And Julie and I and her talked and we were like, can we pull this off in 3 months? And Sarah's like, 3 months is like really, she was like, I don't think it's a great idea. And I could tell she was really hesitant. And Julie was like, I don't think we're going to do it. And so we didn't do it. So I wanted to get this information out so that people can start using these tests more properly. Because I think there's a lot of people who are using these tests. They're trying to, some of the things are they're trying to make these tests do more than they're actually able to. Like you need to know the limitations of your tool. You can't make a tool do a job. I mean, if you try to take a tool and have it do a job that it's not designed for, something's going to break somewhere. So you can't make the tool, like the hair test is not the best thing for every single mineral out there. It's not. And blood tests are not the best thing for everything either. You have to know when to use it, what it's good for, what it can show and what it doesn't show. And that's what we're going to be going over in this seminar. And then we'll be going over tests. If you are a partaker in this seminar and you have tests, blood tests, hair tests that you want me to use and to go over it so you kind of get a free analysis as we go over it as an example to the class, you can do that. But yeah, it'll be 3 days. It'll be November 1st, which is a Friday, to the 3rd. Sunday. Okay. November 1st to the 3rd. email Julie to get on the list if you want to get the details as soon as they come out. We're going to have a sign up, like a landing page for it very soon. I've been working on that with William. And yeah, it's going to be lots of fun. So yeah, that's the big announcement. So if you're interested in that, just email Julie to get on the list, admin@nutritiondetective.com. And it's fun. I've done this twice before. The very first time I did it, it was just hair tests. I think that was back in 2017. The second time I did it was about 2020. That was after I believe I had started adding the blood tests then. And now we're here in 2024 where I've got a whole bunch more information and distilled it down further. Actually, I can tell you, Nathan, the first practitioner I really trained and who has worked with us, he said specifically, I asked him after we did it, after I trained Hope and Kelsey and Nathan sat in on the whole thing again. I said to Nathan, it seems like it's a lot more distilled and a lot more like to the point, isn't it, than I used to be? I'd never be accused of being wordy, right? And he said, yeah, absolutely. It's really distilled and it's come into focus much better, even though this stuff is not like, if you see X, then do Y. It's not always that easy. This is the art of medicine. And if you don't understand that medicine is an art, you haven't done medicine on people. It is an art. You have way too many factors in the real world. It's not a research study. Anybody who thinks real people are just research studies, they either haven't worked with real people or they're not good at it. So that, Brandon, that's your answer. Okay, let me just answer the other part of your question. Is it based on X work? So Eck and Watts worked together. Then they split. The stuff I saw of X later was like he was leaving the ground. He was whoa. It was getting wild in there for him. And his prodigy Lawrence Wilson, pretty out there too. So I don't do much of their stuff. Dr. Watts broke off and made Trace Elements Inc., TEI, and that's the company that we use for our hair analysis. That's the one I like the best. Can you use other labs? Sure. Do I like them? I mean, when you look at a doctor's data hair analysis, I don't like the conversions. I like the way that if I had to, I want TEI labs. If I had to look at another one, I'd want to look at ARLs, but ARLs are incomplete. They're missing quite a few minerals that I'd like to see. And I don't want any of their recommendations. Their recommendations, well, they put a lot of vitamin A in things. And I believe some of them even have vitamin D, and they'll be giving copper, and they'll be giving calcium, and they'll be doing all sorts of things that I have figured out don't work. To give you one example, for those of you who are in the hair analysis world, and you may have heard about the 4 lows. Okay, the 4 lows is when your calcium is low, magnesium's low, sodium's low, and potassium's low. Well, Dr. Lawrence Wilson he actually referred to it on his website as a death spiral. It's so bad. Oh, you're going downhill. Oh, no. I fix 4 lows all the time. He said it's really, really hard to fix, and sometimes you can never fix it. And I'm like, I fix it. I fix it quite often. I had a client of his who came to me after him, worked with him and another practitioner. They told this woman that she was just detoxing or retracing for 2 years straight. The woman almost lost her marriage. She gained a bunch of weight. She was depressed. She felt horrible. They just kept telling her it was detox or retracing. She finally quit. They just kept telling her to eat more vegetables. That was the solution, right? So you just need to eat more vegetables and just detox more. And she came to me and we started getting her better pretty much right away. So do I base my stuff on the work of so Dr. Eck? No. Trace Elements stuff, that's where I started. And what I did was I reverse engineered it. So I looked at what did they recommend when I saw certain patterns on the test, because it's just an algorithm they have an algorithm in a computer that spits out here's what this person should take based on their hair test. There's no in-depth analysis. It's just if X, then Y, then do this. So I went and I looked at what were they recommending. And then I went through it and I went, what are the essential nutrients that we're trying to use here? And what are they using just to push the hair test up and down? Because I don't want to do that. I want to know, why is the hair test up or down? What is the cause? What is the root cause? Not, oh, the hair test is a symptom and we're just going to suppress that symptom and move the bar up and down and that'll somehow fix them. It doesn't work that way. That's not how we fix. If you had your emergency brake on in your car and it's not driving right, you don't put a turbocharger on it to make it go faster because you think the car should go faster. That is conventional medicine. That is some alternative medicine is just doing that. We are not going to be doing that. We are going to fix the underlying causes. And this is why I can pull people out of the 4 lows and they think it's so hard because they're trying to force them out of the 4 lows. Their body is already in that state and you can't just force them out of it. You have to rebuild them out of it, not push them out of it. Okay. So anyway, that's the announcement for the seminar. So email Julie to get on the list if you want to do it. I will be in Idaho giving this seminar. And so a little bit on that, I am going up to Idaho to visit Kelsey. And I will, for those of you who have orders in her store that have not been fulfilled yet, I'm going up there. And as soon as possible, I'm going to be helping her to get through all those orders and get them shipped out to you. So if you can give it, 2 or 3 more weeks at most, we will have those all out. It's partially my fault. I take responsibility because I promoted her store and it became very overwhelming for her very quickly. And so now I'm going to go help fix the good problem that I helped cause. So anyway, that's that. Yeah, so that's the big announcement. Let's get into testimonials today. And then we'll get to the other super chats in a bit. So let me go share. Okay, Joe, you can share the screen now. Let's do full screen view. Okay, let's make this a little bigger. Okay. Do we got it up? Yes, we do. Okay. So 3 testimonials. I'll try to go through these quick today. Number 1, this is about our magnesium lotion. If you did not know, our magnesium lotion is back in the store. Our orders keep going up each time in terms of how many we order, so we try not to run out, and we should have plenty this time so that we don't run out again. And we do want to thank you for all the support in purchasing it because, wow, we've had a lot of orders for it. A lot of people were really missing it. So here we go. I've been meaning to send my feedback on this liquid treasure for a while now. After receiving Garrett Smith's email today, it prompted me to do so. I use it morning and night on my face, underarms, thighs, torso. I love it. I love the taste that gets left on my lips from applying a small amount all over my face. It is light for applying around the eyes too. Okay, so let me just add something here, folks. Those of you who have tried magnesium oil, which is magnesium chloride and water on your face, it doesn't end well, right? It usually causes breakouts and stuff like that. Some of you may have tried the other magnesium lotions out there on your face. That often seems to also cause breakouts. We use refined oils, and we tried, I refine, if we're going to use any beeswax, it's refined. We get all the stuff out of it, the free fatty acids and the things like vitamin A out of these oils so that you're not putting them on your face, causing breakouts. So anyway, that's being able to apply a magnesium lotion on your face is very nice. I do it myself on occasion. So, and lots of other products, you can't do that. Okay, so here we go. It's so gentle and light, and I fully recommend using it. I don't know whether my magnesium levels are going up, but I don't get cramps with my morning bed wake-up stretch anymore. My clothes are also not getting wrecked from using it like they would with my oily homemade version. Those of you who have tried to make magnesium lotion at home know it's super greasy and oily generally. I used to make mine, and it was nice. It didn't soak in as well as our lotion does. It's something. It is something. It's not our magnesium lotion. We'll put it that way. The only thing I would change on the bottle is the line that says perfect for soothing skin. It does sting a little on cracked skin, so it's not really a soother. Okay, this is important. Most of you know magnesium oil on bare skin, depending upon how dry your skin is, if you don't know, if you put magnesium oil on your skin, which again is magnesium chloride in water, and it causes stinging, tingling, itching, burning. You're not actually burning. It's just dry skin that you're putting basically a salt water in. Okay, magnesium salt water, not sodium salt water. Okay, and it irritates it. Okay, we've had lots of people tell us that our lotion is the only thing that hasn't caused them this sensation. So I'm not going to say that it's absolutely perfect. I mean, she's saying it stings a little on cracked skin. Okay, if it stings a little on cracked skin, imagine what these other things would do. It's unbearable, some of them. So it is very helpful. Oh, we got 114 viewers at one point. That's like definitely a record. So anyway, that you can put it on cracked skin if you get a little tingle or itching or stinging. This is fully normal. But I want you to understand about our magnesium lotion. Our magnesium lotion is twice as potent per teaspoon. So the other two closest brands to us, ours has 500, I think it was 508 or 511 milligrams per teaspoon of the lotion. The two other closest ones on the market to us, one of them has 250 milligrams per teaspoon. The other one has 300. So ours still has twice as much magnesium per teaspoon as these others. And ours it stings a little on cracked skin. I think we're doing pretty good. She says here, maybe perfect for nourishing skin. Yeah. This is the best lotion I've ever used. Love, love, love it. I mean, to make a magnesium lotion and have people say it's the best lotion they've ever used, I think we did pretty good. If you didn't know, if you haven't heard about this, it took me 18 formulations. We made it 18 different times over a period of 20 months to get it the way we wanted it. So we didn't just throw something in a bottle. Thank you, Dr. Smith, for the wonderful formulation and the work of making it happen for all of us. You know, it's kind of funny because some people out there think that if I'm figuring all this stuff out and I'm putting out all this free information, that somehow me selling something makes me a bad person. When if you're figuring stuff out and you're figuring out how to help people and make things better, wouldn't I be the best person to make stuff? I love it when people think that I shouldn't make a living helping people with their health. Some people think that health should just be free. I don't understand how the world operates on everybody doing everything for free, especially if I come up with something useful and unique and contributing to the world, that I should somehow live in squalor and poverty just to give it away. It just boggles my mind. Some of these people, they just want to be mad at me. I'm sorry. So number 2, this is Joe again. This is Zendog Breath in the chat. So he's given us testimonials before, but he wanted to write another one. So yeah, I'm admitting that Joe has given us a testimonial before, but I want you to understand what we pull people out of. Okay. I was 61 when too much Weston A. Price Foundation, I'm going to add here, nutrition nonsense, toxicity, garbage, tore through me with sacroiliitis, SI joint inflammation. Okay. I ate beef liver. I went down hard on November of 2022, screaming pain, unable to walk, lay down, or sit. Had to press down on the countertop to stand up. That's what he meant. The traction letting my right leg dangle was my only relief. Held that position 18 to 20 hours a day, all of December 22 and January 2023. Required a walker to get to the vehicle to get to the chiropractor. He helped eliminate other diagnoses like herniated disc or kidney issues. Narrowed it down to sacroiliitis. I suspected vitamin A poisoning from other symptoms and searched around. The pain was frequent and horrific. December 2022, I slept 3 or 4 times a night for 15-minute naps until the pain woke me up, howling, grunting, and grinding. Eric Berg and Ken Berry were zero help. Now, when Joe's saying this, I'm pretty sure he actually conversed with them online, direct messaging, stuff like that. So he's going to these guys for help. He got nothing. Chris Masterjohn was a little helpful with the diagnosis. Isn't that ironic? Chris Masterjohn diagnosing somebody with vitamin A toxicity. Wow. You're so helpful, Chris, as you poison people. But anyway, Judy Cho's interviews with Grant and Garrett were genius stuff. Grant's books were crazy helpful. Realized I needed experienced folks to guide me through. Contacted Garrett on live streams and Twitter. Argued with Garrett for weeks. People don't understand. So some people think I'm this real meanie on Twitter. I'm not mean. I just don't take any bullshit. So if people want to come on Twitter and I slaughtered one of their sacred cows about vitamin A and they want to be rude, I'll put it this way. If you wouldn't say that stuff to me in my house, which is what I consider my timeline on Twitter, it is my house. It is my area. If you wouldn't talk to me like that in my house, don't do it on Twitter or I'll kick your ass out. That's all I do. Joe was not disrespectful. He says argued. I wouldn't say he was arguing. He was asking questions and he seemed open to changing his mind with more information. I got to tell you, I can read people, whether they're open to it, in like 1 or 2 tweets. If you're not open to it and you say anything that is just disrespectful, you're gone. It's very simple. It's not me being scared of anybody. It's just disrespect. And I just won't tolerate it. So he insisted it was a simple thing he had seen and helped resolve often. Told him if it is so easy, then get me the studies and papers on it. Gave him 24 hours. Well, it wasn't quite like that. But anyway, 20 seconds later, 20 seconds. That's how long it took me to go to PubMed and type in retinoic sacroiliitis. 20 seconds later, he hit my email with tons of papers and case studies with just the first hits on a Google of isotretinoin-induced sacroiliitis. Apparently, a huge percentage of kids on Accutane get sacroiliitis so bad they require walkers after the first couple weeks. It is routine. He probably actually researched that more than I did in terms of, like, he probably went and looked at some anecdotes and testimonials and stories online of kids on Accutane, because I did not know this. Joe is a researcher. Don't get me wrong. Told Garrett, fine, I am convinced. Now, if it is so easy for you to coach through this, then you have clients who resolve this and are doing well who will talk to me. Put me in contact. 20 seconds later, I got a link to a guy in Michigan going through the same about 6 months ahead of me. Spent half an hour exchanging with him. He is still improving and still ahead of me. That was 20 months ago. There is a growing group of us who fixed this problem. Almost every one of us also fixed problems that were going back years. In February, I got my first full REM cycle and slept a full 90 minutes before the pain hit. After that sleep, I knew I was onto something. In March, I got my first sleep beyond 3 hours. April 15th, 2023, I slept 10.5 hours straight and woke up without pain. Hung up the walker. That fall, I ran an 11 minutes, 29-second mile. Later, I outran the neighbor's 5-year-old in a 40-yard dash. Little bugger is 6 now and speeding up. He outran me by a step last week. So, wait, did Joe say 61 in 2022? So he's 63. Running races against 5-year-olds and 6-year-olds after he could hardly stand and hardly sleep in pain. And yes, we do have testimonials for this. You guys know I bring receipts. Like, if I say I have somebody who's gotten better from something, you know I have them. If I say there is research showing this, you know I have it. People who doubt that, I chuckle at them. People who say I don't know what I'm talking about or who I don't have research, like on Twitter, they're just gone. That's how it is. So here we go. This is a third testimonial. I took a urine test today for fun. VIVOO. I've never heard of this. And it said my vitamin C was optimal. Right? You'll know why I'm chuckling in a second if you don't already. Guess I don't have scurvy. LOL. I don't ingest ascorbic acid at all. I only get a small amount of dehydroxyascorbic acid, DHAA, not DHA, DHAA from beef. I knew I didn't have scurvy, but it was cool to know my levels of something I don't eat are optimal. LOL. Apparently, my magnesium levels are optimal also. I thank this program for that. Mag oil spray is the best. So see, he's using mag oil spray. If you guys haven't seen Joe, you may want to put up my live stream about topical magnesium, where I go over all these different approaches that you can use. It's not just magnesium lotion. It's not just mine. It's not just other companies. You can use magnesium oil. You can do baths. You can do foot soaks. There's all sorts of approaches you can do. He likes mag oil spray. Awesome. I tell people how much to use. Overall, the test gave me an 8.9 out of 10 score. We'll get to that in a second. I already knew I needed to drink a tad more water, so it must have come up with hydration or something on there. I forget sometimes. Surprisingly, it said that I did not have much, if any, protein in my pee. I was pleasantly surprised to hear that. I'm guessing this person is coming from some history of kidney issues, and that's why this surprised him, and he was pleasantly surprised. Unrelated, but I don't want to clutter up the page, so here's another thing I'll share. I'm 3 months into the program, and if I can time and dose my charcoal right, still figuring that out, I mostly don't have fibromyalgia pain. It's definitely hot lava in my blood from bile, etc., as Garrett says better than I can. If I don't pay attention, I feel like I'm dying of like a flu or COVID, LOL, until I get enough charcoal to adsorb it all. He said it right, adsorb. It's not absorb, it's adsorb. It's the big dump around 6 to 8 p.m. that does me like that. The bile dumps with food, different variables, so no problem. The big daily dump around that time always sneaks up on me. Working on getting better with dosage and noticing when it first dumps to take the binder so I don't feel bad. Smaller dumps for me at other times have the effect of musculoskeletal pain. Other times it's a headache. I feel like I'm detoxing different toxins from my liver at different times of day. Each dump feeling different and having different symptoms. Seems strange, but okay. Guess it's a function of the liver's judgment, LOL. I just turned 40. I haven't drank in about 4 months. When I quit, I didn't really get buzzed anymore. This time I drank a little, felt tipsy quick, found my level, and didn't want more. Didn't regret it, but I don't desire to do it again. I've got a bottle of scotch I may never open, LOL. I was a daily drinker for nearly 2 decades and quit in a day. No issues. I was never an alcoholic, not addicted as I don't have such a personality or genetics. Hell, I never got a hangover really, just dehydration from not enough water with the alcohol a few times. I've likely got an Irish liver. Clearing some toxins out can really do amazing things, it seems. I poop green and black, as in bile and charcoal. Yep. Not brown now, LOL, but I'm feeling better than I have mostly in years. Okay, so let me just cover some things here. I didn't want to do them as I went. For those of you who have not seen my episode on scurvy being vitamin A toxicity. Scurvy is vitamin A toxicity. I will someday go over the evidence that humans have what's called a pseudogene for the enzyme that can help us make vitamin C. So we're told that we can't make vitamin C. Yet we have a pseudogene, as they call it, P-S-E-U-D-O, pseudogene, for that pathway. And if you go into the research, you can find that pseudogenes sometimes work. Here's something to chew on your brain with. Chew in your brain, whatever you want to say. What if vitamin A was a massive, massive inhibitor of that pseudogene? And if we get our vitamin A down enough, the pseudogene works. And then people are making their own vitamin C in their system. When everybody else says this doesn't happen, this can't work. I had another person. So this person said their vitamin C was optimal. Doesn't eat any vitamin C. I saw a carnivore on Twitter the other day saying that carnivores have better, vitamin values and they need less minerals and less vitamins because of their diet. And I was like, that's true. There's less copper, less vitamin A, more zinc, more protein. That's true. But I actually think you deplete less vitamins and minerals with a less toxic diet, but also like with vitamin C, I do actually think that it's quite possible that humans can make it, and scientists just screwed this up too. Okay? Because we now know that vitamin A toxicity causes scurvy. They've shown it in dogs. And dogs are carnivores, and they shouldn't be eating very much vitamin C. So the symptoms of vitamin A toxicity in dogs are exactly the same as the symptoms of scurvy in dogs. Weird. So anyway, yeah, pretty cool, right? Not eating vitamin C and having a perfect vitamin C score. How does that work? We got the magnesium stuff going, and good. His magnesium was good on that test. Yes. I don't know anything about this test. I'm not recommending it. He just did it for fun, as he said. Yeah, and you do want to drink enough water. Okay. Now, the bile dumping. Yes. Absolutely. So I want to say here, if this person is listening, So the big daily dump around that time always sneaks up on you. So I'm going to say, expect it. So for those of you who know, if there's a time of day when you know that you tend to get hit with like a bile dump, you can do a couple of things. The biggest thing you can do is take some charcoal before it hits. This is the first thing to try. I'm not going to say it's automatically going to work, but if this person knows that charcoal works. So maybe if, let's say 6 p.m., I mean, first of all, I would say, look at when you eat dinner versus when this hits. Because eating food is one of the biggest triggers of bile dumping, whether that's eating soluble fiber, whether that's eating fat. So if you knew that, wow, you start timing it. I'm just, playing here. If you knew that it hits an hour after you eat dinner, let's say you kind of watch it for a couple days and you're like, wow, that seems to hit an hour after I eat dinner. So then you might have the charcoal with your food, or you might have it a half hour later. So you're not, if you wait for the bile dump to hit, if you take charcoal after it hits, it's already in your bloodstream. That's why you don't feel good. So charcoal doesn't soak it out of your bloodstream. Okay. It doesn't grab it out of your bloodstream. Once it's in your bloodstream, charcoal can't touch it. So you want to have the charcoal in your intestines when the bile dump happens so that it can soak it up right then. I think a half hour before the bile dump is probably the optimal time. That's my assumption based on what I've seen. Okay. So, and you're saying to noticing when it first dumps to take the binder so you don't feel bad. If that works, that's great. If you can take it when you notice it and you pay attention and the biggest thing that I used to do and that a lot of people do is you start to feel bad. I'll say what I used to do. I'd start to feel bad. Maybe I was out driving my car and I was kind of going, oh, I hope this isn't going to go bad. I feel like it's starting. I hope it's not going to be bad. I don't want to really do anything about it. So I'm just going to hope and pray that it goes away. We all do this at some point. So I used to do it a lot, especially if I was out driving, picking up the kids or whatever, and I couldn't do anything. And I didn't bring charcoal with me. If you have charcoal and you can bring it with you, that's great. I didn't do it. So I would then eventually, a lot of times it would just turn into my symptoms. And I'd be like, oh, crap. We're in the middle of it now. Can't do anything. It's not going to help now. So if you can take charcoal and it still helps, that's great. If you can, there's some people out there, like I know a gentleman he would get a migraine and he was getting better. The migraines were getting less and less. But what he knew was that if he did a coffee enema, when the migraine started to hit, whatever the symptoms were he had for the migraine would go away in about an hour. So the coffee enema would clear out the bile in his guts enough that it wasn't recirculating and he felt better. So whatever you can do once you're in a bile dump, figuring out what to do is the best thing you can do. Okay. He's saying it feels like he's detoxing different toxins from his liver. This could be true. Could be different nutrient statuses at different times of day. Could be different triggers for the bile. Doesn't really matter as long as you know how to manage it. And the drinking thing, yeah, not drinking is the best option. So we got that. Okay. So those are the 3 testimonials. Now, let's go into this one. Joe, you have this link. So I'm not going to be posting the links in the chat today. Joe, these are the links. I'm going to go through this in order. And so, yeah, all the research links are right here. What we are going to be covering is we're going to be covering some of my tweets from the week on certain topics, and we're going to be going over some more of the vitamin A research is a crock of BS stuff. Okay. So let's just hit first on this tweet of mine, and we're going to go into it in more details. Get this out of here. There we go. Well, it's not really showing it great. We're over here. We're looking over here. Okay, so here's the post. The absolute garbage that is nutrition science trying to measure the toxin vitamin A in the body. This is the paper, The Dawn of a New Era in Vitamin A Assessment. This is written by Sherry, I don't know how to say her last name right, Tanuja Mihardo, who has done a lot of really good research in, poking holes in vitamin A science. It seems to be fairly obvious from her work that she still thinks vitamin A is a vitamin and we need it. She hasn't come over to the dark side yet. But here's a quote from the paper. This is the section that we're going to go over. Which biomarker for vitamin A assessment, which biomarker should be used? And as I ask here, why is this even a question? Do a bunch of them absolutely suck? Yeah, probably. Can I make this a little bigger? There we go. Oh, let's do that. Okay, there we go. Here's the next quote. Issues arise when only serum retinol or retinol binding concentrations are used to evaluate vitamin A status. Issues arise. The first statement. What if you ask your doctor to run a vitamin A test on you and they agree to it, which is the only one they're probably going to run? They're going to run serum retinol, also known as blood vitamin A. Is this what I run? Yeah. You know why? It's the only thing available. Do you think I might have a handle on how to evaluate it better than other people out there who never run it and have never looked at one before? It's quite possible, but is this a great test? Is it a good test? Is it a great test? No. Is it an okay test to evaluate people over time as they are on a low vitamin A diet? Yes. Does it tell us does it tell us how bad your symptoms are? No. Some of the sickest people I see have low vitamin A. I just saw somebody post a paper the other day about autistic kids having low vitamin A. It's stuck in their liver. It's not coming out. What causes low blood vitamin A when there's plenty in the liver? Not enough protein, not enough zinc, other things of this nature. And the sickest people I see have the lowest serum retinol. And then as we get them better, their liver starts freeing up more of it, and you see their serum retinol go up while we have them on a low vitamin A diet. So how does that work? Where's the vitamin A coming from? It's coming from their liver. Okay. Retinol binding protein. This is what your body makes to protect you from vitamin A. Now, these have been used the RBP has been used as a surrogate or a substitute for serum retinol. Your body doesn't make retinol binding protein without there being retinol around. It doesn't waste its energy to do that. So right off the bat, issues arise when this is the only thing used. Okay. And as I say here, that's all your doctor will do if they do anything. Next quote. In 1996, the World Health Organization recommended that serum retinol concentrations should not be used alone, but in combination with other biological indicators of vitamin A status. Biological indicators of vitamin A status, is this symptoms that they have deemed go along with vitamin A toxicity, or vitamin A deficiency, or is it other tests? They didn't really explain. So, next quote. Using measured total liver vitamin A reserves, TLR, the gold standard. This is liver biopsy. This is the gold standard. The gold standard. Well, let's go look and see how well this correlates. So what they tried to do, they took common biomarkers, including retinol isotope dilution. They're using isotopes. Were assigned to total liver reserve. So they tried to match up this test with total liver reserve. So they had to have people or kids or whatever who had had a liver biopsy and then also had this test, and they tried to match them up. Okay. Now let's watch where it starts to get stupid and weird. In the groups, Ford et al. Evaluated all plasma retinol concentrations were greater than 0.7 micromoles per liter. Let me stop here to say that means they were not deficient, technically, according to normie science. Even though there were vastly different total body vitamin A stores reported. So they were all okay, according to their standards, but there were vastly different amounts in the body. Vastly. That's scientists using the word vastly. That's pretty important. Okay, so the blood was not matching up with total body stores is what we're saying here. Now, using less than 0.7 micromoles per liter, that's what is called deficient, okay? To define vitamin A deficiency, 25% of Burkinabe or children were defined as deficient when none had low total body stores according to this is the isotope test, the 13C2 RID. So they looked at the blood. 25% of them were defined as deficient by the blood, when none of them were actually deficient by the better test. Was this repeated? A similar finding occurred in Zambian children, among whom 17.2% had low serum retinol, low vitamin A in the blood. None had deficient total liver reserves. None were deficient in their liver by the gold standard. And 59% of them had vitamin A toxicity according to the isotope test. Well, they probably started giving all these Zambian children vitamin A because they saw that a bunch of them had low serum retinol, and now they made a bunch of them toxic. If you don't remember from my liver biopsy video about the vitamin A toxicity epidemic, back in the 1950s, multiple studies in Africans showed that 50% or more of them had vitamin A toxicity by the gold standard liver test. Weird that they keep telling us that Africans are deficient in vitamin A. Okay. Now here's another quote. The opposite was true in Thai school children, among whom none were vitamin A deficient according to serum retinol, but 65% were deficient according to total liver reserve concentration. Do you see the farce that is this measuring? And first of all, how could they have deficiency in their liver and still be okay in their blood? How could they be okay in their blood, supposedly, but have none in their, or very low in their liver? That doesn't make any sense. So, now there is one other thing. I've actually, in the research, when we read about the gold standard liver biopsy studies, there are people saying that they have to be done very carefully, and that to do the what is it, the where they look at it under the microscope, you have to actually really know what you're looking at to spot vitamin A toxicity in it. It's not just something that every pathologist knows how to do. And there was recent studies, I think it was a 2010 study where they showed in fatty liver, a lot of the old research said fatty liver tissue was low in vitamin A. And then when they analyzed the fatty liver a different way, and they were looking for more fatty stuff instead of the way they were doing it before, they found vitamin A toxicity when the other methods would have found vitamin A deficiency. So do you think that could have happened here also? I think so. So that is, and then there's my good old vitamin A deficiency doesn't exist study, which is the one where I go over the liver biopsy study. So again, vitamin A lab tests are mostly BS. So if I'm running a vitamin A blood test, if I'm running serum retinol, am I looking at it as it's not that helpful, but it can help long term if we look at it over time in the same person? Yes. Do we try to make one vitamin A test mean a whole bunch? Here's what I can tell you. If you have high serum retinol, your liver's absolutely toxic. If you have low serum retinol and you're sick, you have a bunch of vitamin A stored in your liver. If you're doing what we do and you're seeing your vitamin A stay steady for several years, that's actually expected. That's been in the research forever. If you're seeing it kind of come down at a rate of like 10% every 6 to 12 months, that's pretty normal. When you hit where the liver is really running out, that's where the vitamin A will really start dropping fast. And then you can be like some of our other people who have gotten to below lab detection limits on vitamin A levels in their blood. Below lab detection limits. You could say that's pretty close to effectively zero. And they're doing better than they ever have been, fixing their problems. Is vitamin A necessary? I'm going to say no. So now let's go to the next. Oh, this was the here. Let me just show this. This was the study, The Dawn of a New Era in Vitamin A Assessment. This is Sherry's Tanumiharjo. Anyway, if you want to see that links in the references too. Okay, now I just wanted to throw this one in here because it's probably another vitamin fraud. Is vitamin B6 just another insecticide vitamin fraud? If you guys don't know this, pyridoxine, look it up. It's an alcohol. And pyridoxal 5-phosphate is an aldehyde. That's why it's Al here. They told you it's an aldehyde. Pyridoxal. Okay. Now let's just read this. So this is a bacteria. Okay, Photorhabdus luminescens. Let me just read this quote. Photorhabdus luminescens is highly virulent to many insects and non-symbiotic nematodes, including Cinorhabditis elegans. Okay, so what does virulent mean? Characterized by causing or promoted the rapid onset of severe illness, used of a disease or toxin. Number 2, capable of causing disease by aggressively interfering with the immune system of the host, used of a pathogen. Well, we're talking about a bacteria here, and we're talking about a toxin. Okay, so P. luminescens, Photorhabdus luminescens, is highly virulent. What makes it highly virulent? Well, let's go look. One of the last lines in the paper, we concluded that the production of appropriate amounts of vitamin B6 is critical. I was going to say crucial, critical for P. luminescens pathogenicity. They needed B6. They needed to make it to be able to kill other things, as in pathogenicity, quality or state of originating or producing disease. Okay, so let's go over some other things that we have noticed in the patterns of the research and disease. B6, vitamin B6 accumulates in the nerves. This is known. This is in the research, and it will cause peripheral neuropathy if you get enough there. What are they putting in all the energy drinks and all the vitamin drinks and all? Oh, they're putting tons of B6, folks. And then what do toxins generally do? They accumulate. What do insecticides generally attack? The nervous system, the nerves. Nervous system, nerves, right? B6 accumulates in the nerves, toxins accumulate. And I want to be clear here for people who go, well, it's only the supplements of B6 that are a problem. What kind of B6 do you think this bacteria was making? Do you think it was making supplement B6 or was it making natural B6? It's making natural B6 as a pesticide. And it apparently works very well in terms of causing disease in insects. Most insecticides are nerve toxins. Wow, it causes peripheral neuropathy. So anyway, that was a fun one. They add pyridoxine to flour, don't they? Oh, yeah. Why are they poisoning us? Here's the paper, if you want to see it. It's on, like I said, it's on that references sheet. Sarah, we need to make sure, if you're listening, we need to make sure to put the references link in the info box. Okay, so let's keep going. Now, we're going to go into the evidence. Actually, let me go here. Yeah, we're going to go into the evidence that vitamin A is not essential on the molecular note. Okay. So let me share this tab. There we go. So this is an old article of mine, 2019 right here. It's a 3-part series, but we're going to go over more of the molecular stuff, the receptor stuff. So this may seem, I'm going to try to make this digestible for those of you who are not sciencey. I appreciate you being here. I'm going to try to make this make sense to you. Okay, so let's go over. So one of the things, one argument proposed for the necessity of vitamin A in the diet is that we have a receptor that the scientists at some point named the retinoid X receptor. And then people assume that because the smarty scientists named it that way, We simply must have to have retinoids or vitamin A to activate it. Okay. They've also named the retinoic acid receptor after retinoic acid. Okay. So they named these things. So people assume that if we need vitamin A and vitamin A is essential, we must need it to stimulate these receptors, to bind to these receptors as a ligand, as they call it. So let's go into some terms real quick here, because we're going to be hitting on these terms again. Agonist, a substance which initiates a physiological response when combined with a receptor. So think of it as the key to the lock. Agonist is like the key that makes the lock work, okay? Receptor, a molecule in a cell membrane which responds specifically to a particular neurotransmitter, hormone, antigen, or other substance. This is the lock, right? Agonist goes into, the key goes into the lock. Ligand, a molecule as an antibody, hormone, or drug that binds to a receptor. So a ligand is just something that binds to a receptor. Could be agonistic, which means it stimulates it or kind of opens the lock. Or it could be antagonistic, which is kind of like it does the opposite. It kind of closes the lock or makes it not work. Okay. And that again here, antagonist, a substance that interferes with or inhibits the physiological action of another. So this is like the anti-key. Okay. So first, I wanted to go into this picture. I don't know if I can't do that. Okay. Now I went today, I found this image on the internet a long time ago, like 2019. And I did a reverse image search and I cannot find this image on the internet any longer at all. So we have several examples of this, but I can't find this anymore. So if you want where this image came from, I can't find it anymore. I didn't put a link on the page, sadly. So let's just look. So agonist, remember, this is the key. This is RXR, retinoid X receptor. This is the lock. Agonist is the key. So if we were to say retinoids stimulate this, you need retinoids to stimulate this receptor. Well, let's just go through this. 9-cis-retinoic acid. Okay, that's Accutane. Okay. Docosahexaenoic acid. That's DHA. Most people know about DHA as the quote unquote essential fatty acid that's in fish oil and grass-fed beef, things like that. But wait, this isn't retinoic acid. How is this a key that fits in this lock if it's not retinoic acid? Oh, wait, are there more? Phytanic acid is also an RXR agonist. It is a key to that lock. Oh, lithocholic acid. Hey, lithocholic acid. This is stone-forming bile acid. Litho means stone-forming, generally. Stone-forming bile acid also triggers the RXR to do its stuff. Are there more? Oh, wait. Here's more RXR agonists. They give them all these chemical names. Wow, more? Methoprene acid? PaO24. Wow, look at all these things that activate the RXR that aren't retinoic acid. Now, before we get into this, this is a funny name or a funny term. But what we're going to say, and this should become very, very obvious, is the RXR is what you would call a promiscuous receptor. Hopefully you understand what the term promiscuous means. It means it gets around. It's very open to keys. It's a very open lock, and it accepts many, many keys. So we're going to use the word a very promiscuous receptor. Okay? People could use harsher words than that, but I'm just going to stick with promiscuous. Okay, so look at this. This page has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 14 different agonists for the RXR just on this page. Okay. Now let's go to the next part. Here are more RXR agonists. We have, again, 9-cis-retinoic acid. People will say that Accutane, this is the biggest BS in all of vitamin A science. They'll be like, well, Accutane is a metabolite of vitamin A. Accutane is one of the things they say is active vitamin A. Like, people don't know enough about vitamin A science to actually say this is what they're saying. They're saying Accutane. They're saying you need Accutane for vitamin A activity. That's what they're saying. Why are they showing 9-cis-retinoic acid as an RXR agonist all the time? Why aren't they showing all trans-retinoic acid? Which is, anyway, which is Retin-A. Same thing. So we got more agonists. This one, I have the link in the references, okay? So now we're going to go to, let me just go look here and make sure I have the right stuff. Yeah, polyunsaturated. Oh, yeah, we're going to go over this first. Okay. Now, I am going to try to make this. Is this what I wanted? No, that's not what I wanted. Okay, so can I make this big enough? That's the question. Oh, no, did I just lose it? It was like page. Oh, Google Books is such a pain in the butt. Really hard to look at it and have it do what you want it to do. Was it here? How did I just lose that? Okay, I got to go find the tweet. Let's go here. Actually, we're going to do this. That is the reference that this tweet is based on. Okay. So let me make, is this big enough? Yeah. So more nonsense here. So McCollum's group. So this is from that book. This quote is from that book that I was just showing. Subsequent studies by McCollum's group show that the ocular eye disorders, i.e. xerophthalmia, as in dry eye. This is just dry eye. That developed in rats, dogs, and chicks. Pay attention here. Fed fat-free diets. Who in the world thinks that a fat-free diet is anything that an animal could survive and thrive on? Like, you do need some basic fatty acids in your diet to survive. Okay, these can be plant-based. We can make essential fatty acids, okay? We can make DHA and EPA from foundational plant fatty acids, okay? So they fed them a fat-free diet and they got problems. Shocker. Big shocker, right? They could be prevented by feeding them cod liver oil, butter, or a preparation of fat-soluble A. That's what they called it. Which then became known as anti-xerophthalmic factor. Okay. So they still don't know what this thing is. They don't know what vitamin A is. They just call it a preparation of fat-soluble A. So first of all, when we get to this paper, there's other things that they can give these animals that help them. Could these animals survive on a fat-free diet? No. They don't know what this vitamin is yet somehow they're able to isolate it. This is really sounding sketchy to me, doesn't it? It's like isolating viruses. Ooh, yeah, that's really happening. So if they're calling it fat-soluble vitamin A, what do you think they probably fed the animals this fat-soluble A in? Do you think they maybe gave them some fat with it because it's fat-soluble? You think? So were they fixing this problem by giving the animals fat, or was it some magical factor in there? Okay. And why has Grant fed the gerbil experiments, right? Or was it hamsters? I don't remember. Hamsters or gerbils, where they've now had two different people, Grant and somebody else, who have fed animals a vitamin A-free diet, and they had no problems. So maybe there were problems with this original research, and the fat-free diet might have been a part of that. Do you think? Well, we're getting into, remember on the other thing where you saw that DHA could stimulate the retinoid X receptor. This is all going to be very important. Fats versus whatever they want to call this toxin called vitamin A, whatever it is. It's a toxin. So this was the paper. This was the book. I forget the, oh wait, was it right here? Yeah. It's right here on page 17 of the vitamin theory. It's right here. Okay, so now let's keep going. So what about other things that stimulate the retinoid X receptor that are in normal diets? Polyunsaturated fatty acids, including DHA, docosahexaenoic, and arachidonic acid, bind to the retinoid X receptor alpha ligand binding domain. So we've got DHA and now arachidonic acid that can do that can do the job at the receptor that supposedly only vitamin A can do. What do we have here? However, although 9-cis-retinoic acid has been described as the natural ligand for the retinoid X receptor, so they're saying Accutane, the same molecule as Accutane, is the natural thing. They're saying Accutane is the natural binder for your retinoid X receptor. That's what they're saying. It's endogenous. This means made from within the body. Its endogenous occurrence has been difficult to confirm. Well, they've shown it in urine and blood before. Okay. The current study shows that DHA is a more potent RXR ligand than previously observed, inducing robust retinoid X receptor activation already at low micromolar concentrations. Furthermore, it is shown that other naturally occurring PUFAs, polyunsaturated fatty acids, can activate RXR with similar efficiency as DHA. So now we got DHA, we got arachidonic acid, and we got other naturally occurring PUFAs. This is promiscuous. Taken together, these results show that RXR binds PUFAs in solution, and these compounds induce receptor activation, suggesting that RXR could function as a fatty acid receptor in vivo. Retinoid X receptor could function as a fatty acid receptor in vivo. How many fatty acids are there? Quite a few. Did they name this wrong? Obviously they did. PUFAs. Gosh, people getting rid of seed oils and feeling better. Wow, seed oils have a lot of PUFAs. You realizing how weird it's getting? Let's go into this one. Oh, this was okay, so more things that regulate the RXR. Retinoid X receptor, RXR alpha gene expression. That's when you turn the key in the lock, you get the gene expression. Is regulated by fatty acids and dexamethasone, corticosteroid drug in liver cells. So now we have a drug. So this is tetradecylthioacetic acid. I just wanted to show you that before I go into this. Fatty acids induce the RXR alpha gene expression, where TTA showed the most inductive effect, threefold induction. So this was the strongest. Now, you remember when they did that fat-free diet on the study animals and they got problems? Fat-free diet. Was it vitamin A that fixed them? Probably not. It was the fat-free diet that caused the problem, and it was the fats that fixed it. Okay. Dexamethasone alone resulted in a stronger induction of RXR, up to 7 times in liver cells, and in combination with fatty acids, an additive or synergistic effect was observed. Oh, in combination with fatty acids. Combining things with fats made it work even better. Wow, weird. The RXR alpha protein level in cultured hepatocytes showed a similar pattern of regulation with a slight inductive effect of fatty acids, and an additive or synergistic effect was observed in combination with dexamethasone. Our results indicate that RXR alpha gene expression is under distinct regulation by fatty acids. They didn't say retinoic acid. They said fatty acids and dexamethasone acid, which strongly suggests a coupling with the lipid metabolizing system. And then they throw this in here, and the retinoid signaling pathway. Doesn't seem like the retinoid signaling pathway had anything to do with this at all, other than the fact they named it poorly. Now, let's just see how promiscuous this receptor. Well, this is the retinoic acid receptor. So this is slightly different, but again, retinoic acid receptor Ligands, remember, ligands bind to something. This can be either an agonist stimulating it, or it can be an antagonist kind of down-regulating it or inhibiting it, okay? Pay attention over here. The retinoic acid receptor ligands library, 6,767 compounds. Talk about promiscuous. That is a promiscuous receptor. Why do people think you need retinoic acid to do it? Oh, because they put it in the name. It's in the name. Oh, sorry. Here it is. I forgot to show the screen. This is an important screen. Now, I went to this. Now that you can see the screen, RAR ligands library, 6,767 compounds can bind to the retinoic acid receptor, as in a very promiscuous receptor. In the original article, let me go back there. When I did this article and I went to this library, the same page, they used to say it was 7,500. Now we're down to 67. Okay. Big whoop. Okay, so now let's go to... Oh, this is the best one. This is the best one. The best. So I just showed you it's extremely promiscuous. Almost, it seems like any fatty acid can bind to it. Dexamethasone can bind to it. Phytanic acid can bind to it. Arachidonic acid can bind to it. A bile acid can bind to it. But what if it could be stimulated? What if the RXR could be stimulated by absolutely nothing? Right here. So this paper, this is vitamin A. This is a book on vitamin A. Very scientific book. In addition, right here, you got to watch my hold on, I don't want to lose this page again. No. Oh. Tell me I didn't lose the page. No, I didn't. Oh, come on. I need that. Oh, come on. Let me go find the link again. I'm trying to think. Joe told me what to do, and I'm trying to think of the term I need to use. Oh, Joe, that doesn't work on the Google page. No, hold on. I just got to go find it. Let me go find it. I'll find the link. Okay. Let me go here. There it goes. Okay. Okay, I'm not gonna mess with this page anymore. Okay, here's the important part. You're just gonna have to follow my little hand here if you can see it. In addition, fluorescence studies in living cells. Oh, they do this with the luciferase enzyme. They study retinoid X receptors and retinoic acid stuff with the luciferase enzyme. Yes. They do a lot of vitamin D research with the luciferase enzyme. What a weird coincidence. In addition, fluorescence studies in living cells demonstrate that the formation of RXR heterodimers binding to something else do not depend on the presence of an exogenous from outside of the body RXR agonist. You don't need anything to bind to it. You do not need a key from outside the body. Where does vitamin A come from? Did they say it's essential, which means you must get it from the diet, which means you must get it from outside of the body, which is what the word exogenous means? In addition, fluorescence studies in living cells demonstrate that the formation of RXR heterodimers do not depend on the presence of an exogenous RXR agonist. Here's this paper if you want to go look it up. So it's highly promiscuous, but it also seems to be able to show itself a good time. Right? RXR is going to have a good time. No, Joe, we're on the right screen. This is the right screen. So yeah, RXR can have a good time by itself, and RXR could have a good time with all sorts of other fatty acids and all sorts of other things. RXR likes to party, is really what it is. It is not faithful to just retinoic acid. We'll put it that way. So that's that. Now we have this last part. I think I might skip this last part. Or maybe I'll hit on just some of the, I don't remember if I went over this in the Ricketts video I did. But this paper, Studies on Experimental Rickets, an experimental demonstration of the existence of a vitamin which promotes calcium deposition. I believe this is the McCollum study. So, yeah, he's talking about fat-soluble A. Let's keep going. Okay. All of Mellanby's own data cannot be brought into line with this reasoning. For example, this is the one. I went over this one. This is about dogs where they fed them meat and they fixed rickets. They fed them meat and it fixed rickets. Meat is essentially lacking in fat-soluble A. Okay, cool. So meat is lacking in fat-soluble A, but it fixed rickets. Well, what nutrients does meat contain that are also agonist keys of the RXR that we've already been over? DHA, arachidonic acid, phytanic acid, and other free fatty acids. Huh. So, I've shown before that like just not eating enough meat will cause night blindness. So another vitamin A supposed deficiency symptom that is fixed with meat. Rickets, vitamin D deficiency can be fixed with meat. Night blindness can be fixed with meat. Vitamin A is a hoax. Back to the initial paper. So he was trying to see if he could fix these problems with fats. Okay. In his experiments, he studied all these fats. Of the fats tested, cod liver oil is the best. Suet and butter also have a potent influence on calcification. Lard is poor as compared with suet. Butter heated and oxidized for 4 hours loses some anti-rickettic, that's the bone-forming action. This is about rickets, okay? So cod liver oil similarly treated still has a strong anti-rickettic effect, but wait, let's look at these oils that don't have vitamin D or vitamin A in them. The vegetable oils vary in their anti-rickettic action, anti-rickets action. The order of merit being somewhat as follows. Peanut and coconut oils were best. Peanut and coconut oils were best with their anti-rickets action. So how does peanut and coconut oil have an anti-rickets action? There's no vitamin D in it. There's no vitamin A in it. Oh, here they're questioning it. It will be seen from the foregoing quotations that the question as to whether fat-soluble A exerts an anti-rickettic effect or whether such action is to be referred to some other principle other than vitamin A, which has in many cases at least a similar distribution, is still open. That's a scientific statement right there. We aren't sure. There's other options. These results suggest the possibility that a dietary essential distinct from the anti-ophthalmic substance, what they call fat-soluble A, may exist. Something other than vitamin A can do vitamin A's jobs. If this is the case, this would appear to be present in butterfat in small amounts, but to be very abundant in cod liver oil. You know what cod liver oil has a lot of? DHA. Did we already go over how you can stimulate the RXR with DHA? Our own experience had convinced us that existing methods were incapable of differentiating beyond doubt between fat-soluble A and a special calcium-depositing substance should such exist. They can't tell the difference between what vitamin A is doing and something else in the fats because this paper is old. Okay. Look at this diet they gave these animals. Rolled oats, casein, which has vitamin A in it, salt, calcium carbonate, and dextrin. Look, this is not a diet. This is trash. It's a fat-free diet. And listen to this. If they add 2% of butterfat or cod liver oil is included in place of an equivalent amount of dextrin, dry eye never develops and the animals are able to grow. 2%. So is it vitamin A? Well, let's look at what the USDA says is in cod liver oil. 13,600 units per tablespoon of cod liver oil, and butter has 355. But at 2% of the diet, they did the same thing. 2% of cod liver oil did the same thing as 2% of butter. 38-time difference between these. But what other compounds that have known effects at the retinoid X receptor does cod liver oil contain? Well, it contains 38 times more vitamin A than butter, DHA much more than butter. It contains arachidonic acid. It contains phytanic acid and other free fatty acids. All of them stimulate the RXR. So, what compounds that have known effects at the retinoid receptor, retinoid X receptor does butter contain? Same thing. Retinol, 38 times less. DHA, much less than cod liver oil. There's not that much DHA in butter, but it is present. Arachidonic acid, phytanic acid, other free fatty acids. So something else must be doing the work. So they were talking about how coconut oil did not cure or prevent xerophthalmia here. Okay. Oxidation destroys fat-soluble A. This is why we keep talking about don't take in a bunch of antioxidants because then you don't get to oxidize your vitamin A. Okay. Mellanby used no method of testing for fat-soluble A as distinct from the calcium-depositing substance that they didn't know about since he did not make use of the ophthalmia test for fat-soluble A. Let's see. Coconut oil has shown to be lacking in fat-soluble A since it will neither prevent nor cure xerophthalmia. This oil, on the other hand, contains a substance which stimulates the deposition of calcium salts in rickets in a manner similar to cod liver oil. To show you how little they understand fats and what they actually do. Coconut oil doesn't contain any DHA, ARA, phytol, phytanic acid, vitamin A, or vitamin D. It does contain lauric acid, myristic acid, palmitic acid, decanoic acid, caprylic acid, oleic acid, and a small amount of other fatty acids. And from the other paper, we know that myristic acid, oleic acid, stearic acid, and linoleic acids have some effect at the retinoid X receptor. on the presence in them of a substance which is distinct from fat-soluble A, that it's not vitamin A. These experiments clearly demonstrate the existence of a fourth vitamin whose specific property, as far as we can tell at present, is to regulate the metabolism of the bones. We know coconut oil and those other oils don't have vitamin D in them, folks. Right? Okay, so that is that. Oh, you want me to read it over, Joe? Okay. I'm going to read this part over. Okay. The evidence set forth in this paper demonstrates that the power of certain fats to initiate the healing of rickets depends on the presence in them of a substance which is distinct from fat-soluble A. These experiments clearly demonstrate the existence of a fourth vitamin whose specific property, as far as we can tell at present, is to regulate the metabolism of the bones. And those things did not have vitamin D in them. There's no vitamin D in coconut oil. There's no vitamin D in peanut oil. There's no vitamin D in, I forget the other one that they were talking about. Okay. Here is the paper. If you want to see it, Studies on Experimental Rickets by McCollum. The link is in the references. So that is the presentation. If you cannot see that vitamin A science is an absolute load of horse dookie, I don't know how to help you. It's just garbage. And this is why, Grant, we have people getting below lab detection limits on serum retinol, and they're doing better and better. And Grant and other people are doing animal diets that are free of vitamin A. We have tons of people doing their own homemade diets for their pets, their cats and their dogs, that have no vitamin A added. I don't know if you know this. People keep asking me, can I buy a cat food or a dog food with low vitamin A? No, they won't let you do it. They won't make it. You're screwed. If you want to buy pre-made food for your dog, you're pretty much screwed unless you're buying like custom-made stuff at the feed and supply store or something. They have to put vitamin A in it. Now they're putting all these sweet potatoes in it and blueberries in it and spinach in it and pumpkin, and they're just putting all sorts of garbage in the animal foods, and you're watching all of these animals getting sick. Guys, okay, I don't know what happened, but it kicked me out of our streaming thing, and now I'm back on a different browser, and now my sound's not working, and I'm just going to go through the super chats. Since we did all the other stuff, we're just going to go through the super chats. So Joe, I can't see the chats. I can't keep up with the chats on this software. So I just need Joe to post all the super chats, and I'll go through those. We'll cut out that middle part where Joe was trying to kill the dead air. And yeah, no more super chats at this point. Today, this is enough for today. We'll go and splice it together and cut out the other stuff. Guess there's some internet stuff going on today. Hopefully we can still turn off the streaming once we're done, because I'm not in this stream center as the host anymore. I'm like a guest. So whatever. Okay, so Brandon, we went over the hair mineral analysis. Carol asked, what if charcoal no longer works for your nausea? Take more. That's the general. Somebody asked a question about that before. Actually, a long time client of ours, they were like, well, charcoal's not working anymore. I said, did you try taking more? And they were like, oops. If it worked before, it should work again. And then the other thing you might want to think about is if you are getting nausea, are you triggering it with something? Are you pushing detox too hard? Are you doing something too much of something? That would be the first thing. Or are you eating something that's causing it? Or is it stress that's causing it? You got to look into what you can figure out is the cause of it. But if charcoal used to work on your nausea, I would try more. Okay. Brandon, thank you for that super chat, Carol. Brandon, another super chat from Brandon says, consider creating a self-custodial crypto wallet and accept crypto for payments, Hex, Bitcoin, Ethereum, etc. Probably will be a small percent who would. Just an idea. I do have a crypto wallet It's a bit of a pain for Julie. But we'll look into it. We'll look into it. I think we've had 2 people paying crypto over the last 6 years. So not going to put a ton of energy into it. Okay. Zendog has a question. This is Joe. So an L, I love your liver question. He says, my liver, so I don't think this is Joe's. This is somebody else. My liver was flooding me with bile so bad I had to take 1 gram of vitamin C to shut down the bile, was having to take several tablespoons of charcoal at a time, and it still wasn't enough. What to do? Well, I mean, this is not like a place for like flippant, troubleshooting of stuff. Like, this is why I do the office hours, so I can go over the details of these things. It's not just so one, if you're okay, let me just say this. Should someone out there choose to, sorry, let me move my window over here so I'm looking at the camera. Okay. Should someone choose to take vitamin C to shut down the bile production, then don't mess around with it. Hit it hard. Like vitamin C, ascorbic acid, non-GMO ascorbic acid, or something like sodium ascorbate or potassium ascorbate or magnesium ascorbate, which are just buffered vitamin Cs. They're bound to minerals. If you're going to do that and you want to shut it down for a period of time, you go to bowel tolerance. That's how people think vitamin C heals things. They just go to bowel tolerance, which means you go to the point where you're either at stomach gurgling or diarrhea. 1 gram of vitamin C is usually not going to do that to people, especially if they're not well at the time. You go to bowel tolerance and you go up, maybe something I might do if I was in that situation would be to take 1 gram an hour until I either got to stomach gurgling or loose bowels. And I would note how much I took, and I would then the next day take 1 gram less than the dose it took me to get to loose bowels. And I would, usually as people get better, as this bile dumping slows down, they get to the point where the amount of vitamin C you can tolerate before bowel tolerance goes down and down. And that's what we should see. And then you can, wean yourself off of it or jump off of it, but realize that the bile may start dumping again. So you may want to go off of it, maybe down by 1 gram a day as you wean off of it. How do we know that vitamin C doesn't really permanently shut down bile production? Well, it's possible we do make it. And it is the idea of rebound scurvy. Rebound scurvy is where people are taking high doses of vitamin C, like grams and grams, and then they stop it suddenly. And then all of a sudden, a couple days later, they have scurvy symptoms, which makes absolutely no sense, right? The explanation, the apologetics they'll give is, oh, they were so used to using so much vitamin C that all of a sudden their body had adapted to it, and you took away all that vitamin C, and now you get scurvy in a couple of days? That makes no sense. So what they actually had was they were suppressing their bile production, and they stopped suppressing it. And within 2 or 3 days, they're dumping all that bile out again, which was the same cause as their problems from before. So if you're going to use vitamin C, which realize what you're doing is you're slowing down, inhibiting, stopping your bile production for a period of time. If you're going to do that, you're using it like a drug-like effect. So realize that if you're gonna use it, make it work. Don't tiptoe around it. But if you're a really sensitive person, then of course you have to tiptoe. So you may want to go slowly the first time. And I mean, there's if you read about orthomolecular doses of vitamin C, they talk about the 100-gram cold. So people get a cold and all of a sudden they can tolerate 100 grams of ascorbic acid in a day without diarrhea. And some conditions even, I think, went up to 200 a day. When I had my old allergies, I would take 8 grams a day, and that would fix my allergies. Did they ever go away permanently from that? No, because it's not fixing the cause. But yeah, if you're gonna do it, like charcoal used to work on nausea. Okay, it stopped working. Try more charcoal because it's still the same cause. It's just you got more. One of the things that happens on this is as you get better, you start making more bile. If it's going the wrong way, well, and charcoal grabbed onto the bile and it got it better before, take more. It doesn't have to be, you know, what you might do is take some, wait a bit, take some more, wait a bit, take some more. And that's how you could do that. Okay. Okay. Where were we at? Was that the last one of that group? Yeah. Okay. Okay, Susan has a question. So no more super chats. No more super chats. If you didn't hear me say that earlier, we're done on super chats. So after Dylan's, we're done. I'm going to answer Dylan's real quick here right now. Dylan asked, "How do you feel about humic/fulvic acids for detox? We don't use them. I don't like them. I don't want it. I don't." They've tried them in practice before, didn't work. Mostly meh results. Some people will be like, "Ooh, it helped," and then a lot of people will be like, "I dropped out again." Anyway, a lot of people would be like, they didn't really do anything for me, or some people would say they made them feel worse. We don't use them. And just because people, well, let me just finish the super chats, and this is so weird. So, yeah, everybody in the chat who's theorizing on attacks and whatever, who knows? I don't know. But yeah, we'll wrap this up. Who knows if it's conspiracy theory or conspiracy reality or whatever. I'm not stressing. This is the sign of a healthy liver, right? Going through all this and not stressing. Okay, so let me go over the rest of Susan's stuff. We're gonna maybe I'll just do this ending part. I don't know if there's stuff I missed on the super chats. You guys just let me know. I'll hit it again. So, but yeah, the question was, any Love Your Liver recommendations for blood pressure beyond potassium and magnesium? I don't know if I went over this, or what you guys heard. Is really, that's what I'm saying. 140 viewers. Holy crap. Joe just told me I'm supposed to log back in with my regular browser. I tried logging back in before. That's why I was gone. I can't get back in. Like, it won't let me back in to end the broadcast. I hope it's going to let me back in somehow, because I'm on this show as a guest right now. I had to come in the back way to get back here. We're doing good, folks. If this is people actually trying to sabotage us, then that means we're winning. So be glad. Be glad you're here watching history be made. Yes, Sarah said Dr. Smith is literally breaking the internet. Yeah, the internet's trying to break me. It's really funny though, the resistance against this. So okay, so any Love Your Liver Rex or my Rex or whatever we want to say for blood pressure beyond potassium and magnesium. Are there a lot of trolls on? Okay. If you can still hear typing on the keyboard, Joe, your sound might be on.
Oh yeah, my sound is on.
Typing on a keyboard, that might be Joe, because I'm not typing. So okay, so we are at potassium, magnesium. Yes, potassium, magnesium, those are the priorities. Oral potassium, whether it's food or supplements, magnesium topically. The other thing that people could look into is if you wanted to. So we talked about the anti-calcification stuff we do. We have low vitamin A diet. We have no vitamin D as in dog supplements. We have getting your UVA, UVB, whether that's sunlight, tanning beds, Spurdy, whatever. We get our topical magnesium, which I already said. We do zinc. We correct zinc deficiency. So you got to make sure that that's going on. Then zinc plays a role in some of the other toxic metals that we're about to mention in your super chat. Vitamin K. Started talking to the manufacturer about it, so don't email Julie. But I'm working on making my own pill. We're trying to figure out the liquids are just unbelievable. The liquid manufacturers out there, they are just so challenging to work with. Anyway, so those things. The other thing that you can do to potentially help with calcification would be citrates. Citric acid or citrates help to dissolve calcifications. So this could be done in the form of like Calm, the Natural Vitality Calm, the magnesium citrate that reacts in the water. You want to be reacting in the water. You do not want to take magnesium citrate pre-powdered. Okay. So there's that. Potassium citrate from Micro Ingredients is we're a big fan of that. I'm trying to get my own made of that. But citrates. And then you could, I'm not against if somebody wants to do the juice of a lemon a day to get some citric acid that way. Leave the peel alone. Don't do the lemon oil. Don't do anything with the peel, the pith, any of that. Just toss the whole peel. But if you wanted to put like the juice of a lemon a day in some water and drink it to get some citric acid, citrates that way, that's fine. Okay. So we got that. Now she says, so are arginine and citrulline okay? People aren't going to like this answer. No, they are not. Long-term stimulating nitric oxide in the body, taking things to stimulate nitric oxide on a daily basis, have been shown to damage the liver. So you might get good results in your blood pressure because peripherally it's helping to open up your blood vessels. The research shows that long-term stimulation of extra nitric oxide in your system is bad for your liver. All those guys out there who are taking like Cialis and Viagra on a daily basis because their doctor says it's good for their heart, it's going to be a disaster. It's going to be like the statin disaster all over again. I'm just going to say it. Do not take boner pills every day. It's not good for you. Do not try to take boner herbs every day. It's not good for you. If you want to use things to boost nitric oxide for a particular reason, use them just that day. And then, you need to take a break from it. If you constantly stimulate nitric oxide, it is bad for your liver. So no, arginine and citrulline on a daily basis, no, we're not going to do that. Short term, it might look good on your blood pressure test, but long term, it's not going to be good for your liver. So that's the love your liver advice on that. So 3 people, no signs of cardiovascular disease, are trending upwards. So make sure you're not drinking too much water. Yeah, Limpy says non-GMO citrate. Always non-GMO, because if it's GMO citric acid or citrate, like you can buy GMO minerals, GMO citrate minerals, magnesium citrate, potassium citrate. You want it to be non-GMO so they don't make the citric acid with black mold, because that's how they normally make it. So that's very good point. So then we have, okay, we're following, Joe, I already did that one. Following LYL principles, she says lead, mercury, copper, vitamin A / carotenoid excess, all likely. Okay. So then what helps detox lead? Zinc. What helps detox mercury? Zinc. Sorry, I forgot to say that. Lead detox. What helps that? Zinc and selenium. Mercury detox. What helps that? Zinc and selenium. So we got to make sure we're getting those good minerals in there. There could be charcoal would be helpful. getting rid of the sources of the lead and mercury as best you can. So fillings, fish, shellfish, that would be important. So Susan says citrate makes you thirsty, symptoms of low potassium and magnesium. Then, doc, it hurts when I do this. Well, then don't do that. Simple as that. So, but yeah, the big thing, don't drink too much water, because too much water in the pipes, right? If the flow through the pipes, if you put more water in the same pipe and it's running at the same velocity through the pipes, the pressure goes up. More water, more pressure. So I'm not saying you're over drinking, but I'm saying when people have high blood pressure, sometimes it could be from over drinking. And if you're just over salting, like some people are sensitive. Okay, this is what I remember somebody telling me. 10% of the US population at some point had high blood pressure. Okay. 10% of that 10% actually their blood pressure responded to the amount of sodium in their diet. So if they ate more sodium in their diet, their blood pressure went up. If they ate less sodium in their diet, their blood pressure went down. So 10% of 10%. So 1% of people, based on these statistics, was actually sodium responsive in their blood pressure. Might you be one of those sodium responsive people? It's possible. You don't know until you adjust your sodium. So you could try adjusting your salt intake, see if less or more changes your blood pressure. It might not. It's unlikely to, but when people figure this out, it's very, very helpful. So not too much water, and then work on your salt intake. And then the long-term stuff with the toxicities and the deficiencies, that's just going to take time. But if you have 3 people living in the same house who are all developing the same problems at the same time, it's environmental, most likely. Could be mold, could be copper pipes, could be, I don't know, all of a sudden, if you change something around the house, cleaning supplies, it could be whatever. Could be somebody moved in next door with, like, I don't know, some giant EMF thing. I don't know. It could be, but if it's all happening to 3 people who live in the same area at once, if they're not eating the exact same diet, then you start thinking environmental. So, and it could just be stress. Let's say everybody's stressed out at the same time. That could be it too. So, so I think we got that. We did Dylan's question. Dylan, I've talked about citrate on and off a little bit. I do not have a show on it. Citrate has been shown in the research. It can help with calcification, help to reduce calcification, and it can help with copper chelation, copper detox. So, okay. That's all I got. So now we're going to try. Joe, I'm going to tell you what's going to happen, everybody. So anyway, let's just wrap it up, and then I'll try to shut down the show, because acerola cherry powder, we're not going to use it. No way. High carotenoids, high vitamin C, high polyphenols. No, we're not going to use acerola. We are not. Here I am. You may have missed the part in the beginning of the show where a guy just said he's on the low vitamin A diet. He eats no sources of vitamin C, and his vitamin C levels on a urine test were all fine. Vitamin C deficiency is caused by vitamin A toxicity. We fix the vitamin A toxicity like he did. Vitamin C is fine, and we don't have anybody with scurvy symptoms. So no, we are not going to use cherry powder, acerola cherry powder, any cherry powder, any type. Okay. So, yeah, so we'll just wrap it up. So thank you all for coming. We're going to go and edit the show some to cut out that part where I blacked out on the screen. So I didn't black out, right? Yeah, so the show may keep going after I close it out, because I can't get back into it somehow through my old browser. So we'll see. So if it just goes to black, it's probably just going to go to black for a while until we figure it out. And so anyway, nutritiondetective.com is where you can find the supplements. We do have magnesium lotion back. If you came in late, I announced my hair test and blood test seminar. Now, just so you all know, it's for lay people and practitioners. So if you're a lay person, as in a normal person, not a medical practitioner, and you want to learn how to do this, you can. And we will then be making the tests. If you wanted to get your own tests, we can help you get your blood test through LabCorp. We can help you get your hair test. And so if you do the seminar, you could learn how to do this on your own, and you could order your own tests through us and then help yourself. So that is very important to know. I had more of the announcement. The key thing is, if you want to get into the seminar, is to email Julie at admin@nutritiondetective.com. And she's going to put you on a list. Don't ask her questions. We'll be coming out with all the answers to all the questions very soon, with a landing page and all that stuff. So you can just get on the list, so we make sure to email you. Okay. And you will get, and if you can't make it live, it's the 1st to the 3rd of November, November 1st to the 3rd. If you can't make it live, you will get all the recordings. Everything will be put into a Google Drive folder, and you can watch it all again or watch it for the first time at a later date. So yeah. Okay. Yeah. Imagine listening to me talk for like 2.5 days straight. See if you can handle that. Anyway, okay. I'm going to close out now. We're all done. Episode 166 is over. This was the wonkiest, most, I don't know, tech unfriendly episode we've had so far. And hopefully we'll see you here next week. We had a record number of people show up, 140. Hopefully that'll keep growing. And then we'll talk to you later. So it's probably going to go to black for a while. Okay. Bye now.